The motion is to accept the draft auditing report. Further discussion? On favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Elaine, thank you.
Katie, you ever have questions, you know you can call us, okay?
Yeah,
Please call us.
the journal entries that weren't done last year, are they still like pending
They're in the journal entries that you'll get this year.
this year? Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So that will get your books, and then when you're done, why don't you send me a copy of it, and I'll look it over, and make sure we have balance.
Make
Okay.
sure we're in the right place.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So, thank you. Part one, thank you, Carol.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Bills, communication.
Good to see you.
No problem.
All right.
Was just a moment.
Yep.
So I'm back in here. Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay. Bills over this last month, NICEAG, the amount of $185.20. Auditor's fee for 2022 is flat 4,000. We have paid off, or the board's approval to pay off the payments amount for Highlander Phase 1. Total being $4,462. And while pilot payments were all paid out and dispersed, there's a report there for board collective insight for each municipality for approval. We had to make sure we got it out the door on time, so I had asked Mr. Mission to come in over the last month to get all signatures through.
I move we approve these bills.
Okay, I second. Michael, you're saying one here not received at the very top, but that is received.
No, so I've sent them a couple of notes and make sure we got the payment out the door.
Okay, so
They're going to be getting another bill.
you said you dispersed it though. So we paid, but they owe us now.
Yes,
Which one we got?
that
Okay,
is.
because
Mhm.
it's abundance, so,
Mhm.
okay, so. And it was due. When was it due?
It was due in January.
Okay,
So that's
Still going down. Abundant solar.
abundance solar. So, okay, all right, so we made the district whole, they're not suffering, it's.
Right.
We're left.
said, Jim, want to keep any of these municipalities waiting on it.
Hey, can I chime in? I'm sorry.
Yes.
The IDA only pays what it receives from our pilot contractors. We don't front pilot payments. Did I hear that wrong? I apologize if I did.
No, so. All right, so if a bill is due, Justin, and they haven't paid it. We don't forward it to the school district or any of the municipalities.
You don't have anything to forward.
Okay, so we should not have paid it.
So if you could clarify, what is this for? This is a pilot agreement?
It's a pilot, yeah, pilot payment.
Okay, Abundant. It's a solar project. When was their pilot payment due, Michael?
January,
January,
Okay. So, and they have not made it yet?
no,
no,
Oh, boy. Well, we should have an aging list and a notice to staff and the board on anybody that's a day late. Generally, the next meeting, you'd have a trip report. And if they're a day late, there's a 5% penalty due automatically. And then every month thereafter, there's a 1% interest amount that is added, compounded on that.
okay,
And what happens if they don't pay?
We
Just
terminate the pilot.
Well, we are required.
Terminate the pilot.
Well, what I would, in the normal course, you would send them a late notice
which we did.
and then a notice of default, I would imagine about 30 days out if they don't pay you. This is a brand new pilot. This might be the second billing cycle, if not the first.
Right,
Um, how much was, I mean, what was sent to the school district and why wouldn't it have been sent to the town and county as well?
There was. There was 15,419,23 to the county. 6,083.80 to the school district, Weedsport.
Well, the school would get the largest share
Right,
and then the town and county would get smaller proportions in the normal course. So how much total was outlaid by the IDA? We should do this in executive as well, by the way, but,
Let's go back. All right.
Well, we're good.
We're gonna go
do
to
executive at the
anyways.
end, right? So-
Okay, let's do it in exec then.
okay.
Do it right
that
now?
would make more sense.
Well, we've got to we got to discuss the land too. We should.
right.
Let's go ahead and do that at the end.
Thank you. Do you still want to approve these
I approve them with that one.
with that exception?
Yes.
Second.
No further discussion, all in favor of the pilot disbursements with the exception of the one.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Carried, thank you. There's one to be discussed later. Okay, is there a motion to approve the treasury report?
I'll move.
Second.
Yeah, a second. No, thank you. Discussion on treasury report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Unfinished. Update on our sewer line.
I think Mark is on.
Hello, Mark.
Mark, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Wonderful.
We actually have moved into the bidding process and we actually we're getting a lot of good interest. I think we've got now 8 contractors that have documents out
Wow.
right now. And our bid opening is scheduled for April 7th at 10 o'clock and it's right there in that office. Hopefully that's not a problem at 10 o'clock on April 7th, but that's where it's going to be held. So we're looking good. I do owe Michael a updated schedule, you know, with that April 7th date in mind, moving forward, and I'll get that over to you, Michael, so at least we can get a schedule to what the estimated completion date will be for it.
Thank you.
Any questions, you guys?
What's the date of that bid opening again?
April
April 7th.
10 o'clock.
Any other questions for Mark? You'll be in this.
Is it 3 weeks to a month back from what we originally thought? Mark?
Oh, from the original bid. Oh gosh,
2 years,
we're
3 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
No.
about
I thought it was gonna be sometime in March.
yeah, about 3 months, close to 3 months.
Thank you. No, if there's no other questions. Seat update.
To build on top of what Mark was sharing there, we did finally get the SAM.gov registration updated appropriately, and it's really important for our reimbursement process through the EDA grant. I did check back on the SD grant for reimbursable amounts for phase 1 of the project there. While we can be reimbursed for any expenses incurred after December 2017, this is one of the things I've got to check with Mark, and probably back with the SDs to make sure we had followed the explicit provisions of the grant contract that we were following WMDE going into that as well. It's a big thing that's on the radar for phase 2 here, and Mark and his team are making sure that they're on track with that. Other CETA updates here on this end is we're continuing to have discussions around available parcels throughout Hugo County of what makes most sense for the IDA, what's available out there with existing infrastructure in place, water and sewer, broadband availability, proximity to major transportation routes, whether it be rail, air, or throughway as well. We're also working internally on a number of items for IDA incentives that are on our deck here. And lastly, just from general update is new staff members that have joined CETA here today, and had the opportunity already to introduce our new folks here to the board. So that's by and large big updates I had here, but questions.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
I think it's great you able to get so much staff.
Yeah.
A lot of,
That was a lot at one
a lot
time.
of work.
It was, but I'm very, very optimistic about that we have on here today. I think they're going to be great value added for all of the partners we're working with. So
No,
very
it's
excited.
good to have
Yeah,
a full crew for once.
so it is. It is.
Oh, great work.
Let me give a little report on that thing. At our last meeting, we had a big discussion on that road and the lawsuit that we anticipated from the solar people. And we, I think, instructed Rick to make sure what ownership we had of that road. And we were going to hold the solar people responsible for traveling on our road. The next morning, I went out and drove on it, and the solar people had built their own road and had never, to the best of my knowledge, used our road. But there was certainly one culvert that absolutely needed to be replaced. It had busted in and caved in from the top and was stopping the water going through. And anyway, that's part of the reason Carl's here. I didn't know what else to do, so I got Carl up with a guy by the name of Norbert, who's a brother to the owner of it. He owns a construction company. And I called all the board members and talked to all of them except to John, who never called me back.
Nice.
I
But
trust him.
but that really need. Carl, why don't you tell them what you did with the?
Well, first off, let me say, I'm glad you got a lot of money. That's a good start and you work with somebody, you know they can pay it. But no, Herbie and I and Ray had met out there and the reality of it was that the culvert had collapsed, it was holding water back. They had a fair complaint, I would think it in my mind, and at the end of the day, that culvert had to be replaced one way or another. So removing a culvert was just a small step, and truthfully, another discussion that's going on the side, and this is my interest in this whole culvert affair, is the water authority right now is working with the Norbit people, trying to acquire a right of way from West Genesee Street north across the old Wake Farm, so to speak. So we thought that this would be a good faith effort to begin a discussion with the Norbit people. And Herbie, being the shy guy that he is, he walked up and grabbed the guy up a bulldozer and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." I didn't talk to the guy, so that worked out well. But that was at the end of the day, the culvert was going to be replaced. So I don't think we've lost or anyone's lost any ground here. Anybody's gained any great advantage over anyone else. It was probably the right thing to do to unplug it, in all fairness. And at the end of the day, just save the next guy the excavation of removing the old culvert to put the new one in. Well, I've got the floor, and I'm also pushing my projects, but for everyone that's new here, the Cuba County Water Sewer has two big projects that we're undertaking right now. And one is the Cuba Lake Protection Plan, which is running a sewer line from the Village of Aurora Treatment Plant to the Tompkins County line. If anyone that's been in the area has ever been in the area of Hanaco Road and Sunset Beach, and Mike, you probably know this area better than anyone. So what the water authority is presently proposing is to install about 9 miles of pipe and about 300 grinder pumps and a couple of larger pump stations to create sewer capability and a sewage disposal system for those 440 homes on the Hanaco Road Atwater's area, and we're in this Cuba Lake Protection Plan. And the other big project we got going on is, we're presently working on a second source for Cuba County, a second source of water. Auburn's been a good steady source of water, and as much as we all talk about water rates and argue about this and that, they've been a good partner to us for a lot of years. They've supplied us good water at a reasonable price. But there are some issues with Owasco Lake right now. And the future of the lake I don't think it's questionable, but it has some problems. And we had the opportunity to get a deep water intake on Cuba Lake, which provide us a second source of water. If something drastic should happen on Owasco Lake, it would be nice to know that we could get water from Cuba Lake and from another source. So this project would include installing a water treatment plant in the Long Point area. We would pump water to King Ferry, which would allow us to supply the King Ferry Genoa district with water. And we're not too far away from running water to Locke and maybe back to Moravia. That might be 20 years out. The other way, coming north from Long Point, we would run water down Route 90. We would pick up in the village of Aurora. We could sell water to the village of Union Springs, the town of Springport, village of Cuba, town of Aurelius, and Montezuma. And then we could hook onto our pipes and supply the north end of the county that we presently supply with the city of Auburn's water supply, water authority source. And one of the questions I had is that, and I'm going to just put this idea out there for everyone to talk about. As I look at things and I'm trying to find another way back from Route 90 to Auburn. We're anticipating that the milk plant is going to be a large customer. And really, the milk plant is what's really breathed new life into our project for the second source. They're going to be a large customer that will really give this thing the financial footing it needs to move forward. And as I look at things, as we get across to the milk plant, across the IDA property, we would kind of like to continue further north on the Eagle Drive extension. And just so happens the IDA owns the property north of the mall that we might want to need right away to run a water line through. So I'll just kind of ask you to be aware of that if anything happens soon, to keep us in mind when we'll be talking to you about a right of way on that property. What we need to do, just so everyone understands, when we get to the milk plant, we need a way to get back to the city to rehook. And we kind of like to go around the city through Aurelius on Canova Road and then back over to Route 38. There'll be a couple connections with the city, but I just happened to be looking at the maps the other day, and I remember some discussions as I peered in on your IDA meetings that you own some property north of the mall. So keep us in mind as you're
They'd
putting
be
the road
dancing in
in.
the street on Canova Road.
Pardon me?
They'd be dancing in the street on Canova Road.
You think
to get
so?
water.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah,
How far up on Canova Road do they have water, right?
it only comes to Beach Street.
Oh, okay, well, that's good to know.
Maybe a little beyond Beach Street, but it's right around Beach Tree and Canova.
Good, that's good to know, thank you.
I got some friends up further and they're well. Yeah, it's, they'd be dancing in the street if even if you hinted that they were gonna get water.
Well,
It's a bad situation.
it's interesting you bring it up because, we were talking a few minutes ago with Mike and Peter,
I work a whole bunch of girls all through there and it's the water is
just poor. But we're talking about, the fact that Cuba County's got so much water. But truthfully, it's questionable how much of it's good, potable water that you can use at your home. There's a lot of, there's plenty of water, but you also have issues with hardness,
There's
iron,
a
and
lot,
so
there's a
on.
lot of sulfur veins through there.
Oh, no, that's.
At one farm I owned up on Beach, Basswood Road. It was awful. It was just like rotten eggs. It's awful.
Well,
And there's no water on Beach, Basswood.
Well, so that might be an opportunity that, if we're running the main through here, we could, spider off that and supply those areas with a source. But those are just a couple of the big projects we got going on. The culvert was not a problem. And like I said, if you're moving forward with that property by the mall, just kind of keep us in mind because we really would, like to, we don't want to go through what we're going through right now, trying to get it right away. We'd like to get one ahead of time. Thank you, John.
If we go back to that work that he did, he did not put a culvert in.
I was just
He
gonna
just dug it open and left it
Yeah,
open.
just
And
channeled
I
it.
think you said we had bought a culvert for that.
Doug's got the pipe,
Is it 4 foot?
yes,
And
well, yeah, it's a good size, yes.
it needs to be 4 foot.
Yeah.
If you can check on that, and at some point
Well,
fairly soon
he
we.
walks by Doug every day.
Yeah, I'll ask Judge, yeah.
And we need to buy the culvert for the other one that needs to be dug up.
That's probably 4 foot too.
No, it's a lot smaller.
Yeah, it's
I talked to him. He said 18 inches. I don't know what size culvert comes in.
Well, no, 18 or 2 foot or 2, but
Doug,
He said at least
Doug's got
18
some-
inches.
Doug's got some, we got some left over from, the Moravia project, I think it's 15 or. I know I'm buying 120-foot 15 from him.
yeah.
He said he's got some left over.
Is it all right for Carl to talk with him and get
Oh,
it
sure,
on hand, what pipe you need
Yeah.
to put that other culvert in?
nobody easier to work with than Doug.
Okay.
Yeah, and I.
Are you looking for that work to be done,
He is
or
Doug.
are you looking for the work to put the culvert in, or just talking right now?
No, just.
And the guy we know with the thing, we're not gonna put anything more in for them until we get to a discussion on a right of way. And this is not like the one that we did. That one had caved in and we were blocking their water up. And we had a liability to get that done, and we did that, and that's taken care of. The guy said the water's flowing through there really good.
That one has a new culvert now?
No.
No, it's just open.
All we did was open it up and take the old culvert out.
Gotcha, thank you.
We bought that culvert several years ago.
Yeah.
But we thought, we thought.
Carl, gotta make sure that that's 4 foot, cause it needs 4 foot in there.
But it's the intent, Herb, that when we put in the sewer, we're going to put the new culvert in.
I talked to Mark before we dug it up to make sure it was all right with him, and he said absolutely, it would be better not to dig both of them up until after we open the bids up, and then they'll know the situation. But somebody has to put it in, and somebody has to put the right fill in so that it don't settle over that sewer pipe like the other one did.
But the other culvert is working. It's just not working as well.
It's partially plugged up, but it's a normal thing for culverts to get plugged. But it,
Yeah.
and Ray, when he was out there with us, somebody needs to dig a ditch alongside of our road and keep the water from running over the top of the
On the
road
top of the road, yeah,
when they're there.
it's flooding over.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. You are a very intelligent young man.
I like that, yo. I might come back.
Back again.
Thank you.
Okay, no business. We've done the review, the Paris recording.
Paris reporting update.
I hear nothing.
And just a reminder for everyone is we have state annual reporting for all, not just the IDA's operations, but all agreements we have outstanding for pilot or other IDA incentives. That's due by the end of next week. We have everything in with the exception of one client right now that I'm chasing down. Should have everything submitted this week. I'll be sure to share updates with the board of any feedback or any outstanding items. Getting the audit approved today was a big part of that, so I can submit that as part of the whole package going in. And that's the high low on that part.
Report of the audit committee. I guess we've done that.
Yes.
Onboarding our secretary treasurer resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
I'll do a roll call.
No, not that, and make sure everybody knows what we're doing.
Sure. As has been mentioned once or twice here now is Katie Moran is our new bookkeeper auditor. Just a reminder, in the past, historically, the analyst was doing all of the bookkeeping and reporting, all of that stuff. But the way I was looking at that is that's really administrative set of tasks to be done there. So That's why I've been, really looking in Katie's direction here to help with that end, and given her, long experience in working with nonprofits in accounting as well as, board experience, I think she'll be a very good add, not just for CETA, but more importantly for IDAs that we serve here too. So.
You roll. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, carry,
Unanimous.
take that. Initial project resolution. TGJ, New York, Chestnut Ridge, Moravia.
Has everyone had a chance to take a look at this at a time, or otherwise, we do have a representative for the project on a phone call here, Jennifer Twig from Barclay Damon.
They're on,
They're on the phone here.
I would like to ask them, is this the name that's going to be used in running this solar thing, or are they going to change names 3 or 4 times?
No, this is the name of the project entity. And it's, just to clarify, it's TJA -NY Chestnut Ridge Road, Moravia LLC.
And those change on them. Some of the other solar projects, we have had discussions about where the help is coming from to install these. Are you using all local help to do this?
Unfortunately, we don't anticipate being able to use local labor for this project. We already have an EPC contracted, which was part of a larger portfolio of other solar projects that the parent company owns. And so certainly the EPC will try to procure local labor where possible, but we're not able to commit to that. So we have sought a waiver.
Do we not have a percentage of local help that has to be used on these projects? And why should we give you a pilot to create jobs if you're bringing in help from the outside to do all the work?
This is a specialized project, and it's on an accelerated construction schedule where we need to try to start construction by May 1. So given the timeline, and again, that there's already a national EPC involved, that's why we're seeking the waiver.
It's just me that's picking on you, but that's not satisfactory for me. I think the reason we give pilots is to create jobs, and this county needs to have jobs created. And if you're going to come in and do these projects, you need to work on using local people to do some of the work with that.
And I understand your position, and I respectfully would just offer that, there will be other ancillary benefits from labor that's working on these projects. They will be staying, on site in the community for the length of construction, using the local hotels, frequenting the local restaurants, gas stations, etc. So there will be some trickle down to local businesses.
So we will be asking for a pilot, but when we do that, don't we send out information that includes
public hearing.
the fact that we do need local labor? I mean, it's
Part of the
it's
application.
right, part of the application. When was that sent out?
It has not been sent out at this time yet.
No, okay,
Wait, they didn't fill out an application?
They did fill out their application.
right. So, yeah, I agree with her.
I do too.
I'll say it again, Herb, I agree with you.
It's marked this down.
Yeah.
I've written this down, you signed it sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of this,
So then we're gonna table it.
we're gonna table it.
Table it?
Oh, I can table it.
We haven't got.
At this point, you're just being asked to accept the application that would allow a public hearing next month. The labor waiver can be considered after that, if you'd like.
I think you're absolutely right, Justin, but she should understand that we have a problem approving these pilots without local labor doing a big part of the work. as long as she understands that, I'm willing to go ahead with the public hearing and whatever we need to do.
As I understand it, Justin, it's two different things. So today we're just doing accepting the application and I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
So
We can talk in greater detail later about how the EPC might be able to access the local union hall for
Okay.
electrical contractors if that's available.
So moved.
Second,
Gotta do a roll call. vote.
Yes, on the second. Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Would this project continue to go through if you do not have a pilot?
No, sir.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
But before that, where are you with the planning process with the town of Niles?
We have received our municipal entitlements and we just have to pull the building permit by May 1st. So we've completed seeker, we've received site plan approval and special use permit.
How large a project is this?
that's 22 acres.
You want to describe your project, please?
Sure, it's a 5 megawatt project. It's going to be located at Chestnut Ridge Road in the town of Moravia. And this is a community scale generation project, so it will benefit the local community. Any local subscribers that are interested in receiving a credit on their utility bill may subscribe to this project and receive up to a 10% discount.
Thank you.
Is it in the town of Niles or town of Moravia? The resolution says town of Niles in section 1, subsection C.
It's probably town of Niles. I know that.
Yeah, I think it's a Moravia address.
I think it's a
probably.
Moravia project.
Address,
isn't it,
right.
Genevieve?
Yes, it was approved by the town of Moravia.
Okay, yeah, we can make that adjustment in the minutes
Okay.
to reflect Moravia instead of Niles. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lattimore,
What's the resolution?
Setting up a public
it's initial resolution.
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Mr. Latnish, and
Yes,
Mr. Lockwood,
Yeah.
Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
Ms. Spino,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan Flesh.
Yes.
Thank you.
All voting aye, none opposed. You have heard our concerns though, haven't you?
Yes, sir, and I will take those to my client and we'll see what we can do to comply with the local labor policy.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
thank you.
Upcoming events.
I had something for Justin if it's.
Sure, go ahead.
And you stop me if we need to do it in the executive session, but we have a 175 to 200 million solar project in the northern part of the county. Plus the one next to our property that we've discussed this with. And both of them have not, I believe, approached us for pilots.
No, they're not.
Especially the northern one is in 3 different school districts. And I think that Justin should represent us and work with getting us involved, especially in that one for a
As I
pilot.
understand it, the biggest ones are controlled by the state.
My understanding, and Justin is
I'm not arguing with you.
way more than, they have a law firm out of Syracuse that I'm sure Justin is familiar with, but
Maybe we could talk about that in executive session when we talk for possible
Yeah.
contract.
I can give you a general update here, and then we can talk in greater detail and executive if you'd like, if you have legal questions. But generally, yeah, you're right. It's a 200 megawatt project that's being sponsored by NextEra, which is a very large solar concern that operates nationwide and internationally. The Office of Siting at the state level, given the size, was the entity that did all of the local approvals that are usually, regulated by the town, but in this case, in Conquest, the state stepped into that role. There's 200 conditions associated with that project that the state is mandating. Among them, working with you for a pilot and working with the town for a host community agreement. Michael has already had a preliminary discussion with one of the school superintendents. And scheduled a meeting with him, and he brought the other two schools along with him. So there's been a preliminary discussion with the districts and the town, but they haven't made a formal application to the IDA yet. At that time, we'll lean into it a little bit more earnestly, but at this point, it's mostly been pre-application discussions to talk about how a pilot might work and how the town's host community agreement would work with the pilot. We haven't talked any numbers or any kind of commitments yet. It's more trying to gather up the working group and get everybody kind of on the same page to move forward when they're ready to move forward with us.
I guess my point is to make sure that Justin and Mike or whoever stays on, that, 200 million. But it can't multiply. And come up with our part of that, but it's a huge amount of money, and we should. I think bringing him for his time really involved with that is very, very important for us to do at this time.
Yeah.
Justin, I really think you're on top of it, but I want you to know that we're concerned that we're represented as probably the best way to do a pilot for a project that size. Thank you.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, upcoming events.
How about the apology that he doesn't know how to add or anything? How about that?
Did I say that?
No.
Oh, you, yeah.
Upcoming events.
It's the bottom line that gets me.
All right, upcoming events, item 1, AVO training, April 5th, 9:30 to 11, and April 19th, 9:30 to 11. Please contact me if you would like to get signed up.
Do we need, is it mandatory that
Have you done it recently?
Year ago.
just a couple months ago? You must
I've
have
been
records.
All right. So I'll be taking a look at that.
You might have to dig pretty deep after the John. Are you going to need that?
Item 2 here, State of the City County is this Thursday. That's at 8 o'clock there, and the next day, Friday, is the State of the Schools.
The state of county is at 8 o'clock
Yeah,
in the morning.
yeah.
Zoom or something.
It is over at Auburn Public Theater,
Oh,
so.
glad I didn't sign up for it.
And then next week,
Don't die.
Things go downhill awful fast.
I said, don't.
next week, we're having the CETA Economic Luncheon on the 30th. It starts at 11:30 over at Springside Inn. I've got Lauren here with handouts for anyone who's interested. Love to have you all there. Or anyone else we would think we might benefit from joining. Our guest speaker this year is Bill Fulton. He's a Auburn native. He's traveled throughout the country doing urban and economic development planning. So we're excited to have him, and we think it's going to be a great event that we haven't been able to have for the last couple of years due to COVID. So again, either give me or Lauren a shout to get you signed up.
I did, you told me I talked to her.
That's right.
Oh, Bob Carlos, do we need to do anything if we open the bids up on the 7th? Does he have authority to award the bid? Do we have to wait to our next meeting? It'll be another almost 3
No,
weeks.
what typically will happen, Herb, is he'll do a tabulation of the bids of all the people all the companies that submitted bids. And then come up with a recommendation based on his spreadsheet.
And if we needed to, we could have a short meeting to work over bids.
Probably one.
That's all right with the rest of you, and that will get us on the motion and not make us any later than we are.
I'd rather have a special meeting than just give it authority to approve it.
That's fine, that's the
I
way,
mean,
we-
it's
that's the way we should do it.
Yeah. It was a normal bid deal.
No, that
That makes sense. I
Yeah,
want,
bringing it up so that if we
I
can.
just, our
agree,
hands were right in it.
Yeah.
And Herb, as Rick mentioned too, the EDA has not a special, but a typical format that they like to see. They want to see meeting minutes of the bid opening. They want to see our letter of recommendation and all that. So there's a set procedure that has to happen. And but I think a special meeting could work, a week or so after that 7th date. I think it would work fine.
Sure.
After you report to us, what you get with the bids, then we can decide when's the right time to have a.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Okay. I move we adjourn to.
Well,
So you get
any
the sack.
they're all sitting here. Did they have any updates or anything to say?
I'm very grateful to have a full team.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
And I'm looking forward to working with all of you and finding out what your, needs are from a marketing perspective and sharing my insights. So I'm very happy to be here. So thank you.
Same.
I like a guy with few words.
Especially at this time.
We will take it.
Can I make a motion to go into executive?
Second.
So it's gonna be contract negotiations, possible sale of purchase of real property and attorney-client discussion.
Yes.
On favor.
Aye.
Oh, we're there.
Thank you, everyone.